Andrew Bosworth, Meta's Chief Technology Officer. Boz, it's great to have you on, or maybe I should call you Lieutenant Colonel. So let's start right there. How did this come about, and why did you feel it was so necessary to serve?
Yeah, Shyam actually approached me from Palantir, and he'd said that he thought there was a chance that we could contribute to, innovating not just in a narrow sense, but really more deeply in partnership with the Department of Defense. And something that Brent, the head of HR for the DoD, had put together as an idea last summer, and Shyam ran with it, and he approached me and Kevin, and really as soon as he said it to me, I thought it sounded like a great idea, and I was happy to be a part of it.
And of course, you're going to go through some training, but not necessarily traditional boot camp, and you come in a pretty senior ranking position. It's personal service for you, but it also speaks to your professional prowess, particularly when it comes to something like AI, which is getting deployed in real time on the battlefield. So given the fact that Meta has been pushing further into its defense contractor work with the military, why are we seeing that happen now? What does it mean for Meta, and what does it mean for you as a senior executive at Meta?
Yeah, believe it or not, these really did happen completely separately. This was something that I'm doing in my personal capacity as a private citizen, something I've always wanted to do. I've always felt called to serve some way, and I was glad to find an opportunity to do that. I have a history of military service in my family. Many of my cousins are in the armed services. Separately, we started partnering with Palmer Luckey and Anduril on a number of pieces where we're not going to be a contractor ourselves, but we're partnering with Anduril, who is, on taking some of the technology we've already developed and making it available to the DoD. I think they're both good things. I think they both help, but they are separate. In fact, one of the important jobs that I have and the commitments that I've made in joining the Army is to have a real separation between my professional work at Meta and the work that I'm doing in service of the Army.
AI has definitely become a lightning rod in terms of the geopolitical landscape and this idea. It gets framed a lot as U.S. versus China, but how are we seeing in real time AI make its way into the battlefield? What will be your role in advising on that, especially given the fact that we have had another war erupt here in the past week between Israel and Iran?
Yeah, I mean, we think that AI is going to be a part of every facet of the future. Not just, okay, is it going to change the way that war fighters are engaging in war, but all the way back to logistics, like how are we planning in terms of what types of materials and supply chain we need, and how are we going to effectively get that supply chain to the battlefield? And so really the question of AI isn't, we so often focus on the very last mile of AI. Is it going to be making autonomous decisions? That is a decision that's outside of my command. But what I can do is help advise huge parts of the Army who are involved in supporting our troops and our efforts overseas and domestically in being more efficient, more effective with a smaller force, and therefore freeing up resources to do more elsewhere. So I think for us, we're not thinking of AI as, okay, this is specifically how do we focus on lethality. It's how do we think of this new technology as being able to improve a huge number of parts of the way the Army operates.
And shifting to a different type of war, if you will, the talent war. I mean, Meta has been in the headlines for the last couple of weeks. You just recruited Alex Wang from Scale AI. Reports that Daniel Gross and Nat Friedman are being courted right now. Talks between Meta and Perplexity. Meta has apparently walked away, according to sources familiar. And Sam Altman saying that massive signing bonuses have been offered by Meta to some of the OpenAI executives as well. How does it speak to the investments we're seeing and how important talent is now as the technology is further developed and deployed?
Yeah, it's an incredible market out there. Sam neglected to mention that he's countering those offers. So the market is setting a rate here for a level of talent, which is really incredible and kind of unprecedented in my 20-year career as a technology executive. But that is the great credit to these individuals who 5 or 6 years ago put their head down and decided to spend their time on a then unproven technology, which they pioneered, and have established themselves as a relatively small pool of people who can command an incredible market premium for the talents they've raised. I think the free market will do its thing. People see these numbers and they're going to start to build this expertise. So I think a couple of years from now, it'll probably be very different and there'll be a lot of people with this talent pool. But today, it's a relatively small number. And I think they've earned it.